Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show a very unique puzzle where the goal is for white to move and not checkmate the black king in one move. That's the goal. White has to move and not checkmate black. So it sounds very odd, I know, but it's fun. So I'm going to first talk about the position in general. If you notice just by looking, the black king is completely cut off. Right, all these squares are controlled. Okay, so essentially the king is stalemated, right? So if you could just give check to the king, it'd be checkmate. Like knight here, that's checkmate. Knight here, that's checkmate. Okay, knight here, right? Same idea. So we had to figure out what move is not checkmate. Okay, well, let's just go through it. And if you can find it, great. If not, well, that's what this video is all about. So, a couple things you might notice, right? Like I just showed, the knights have a couple moves, and in both cases, it's checkmate, because when one knight moves, the other knight is going to be guarding this square, so you can get away with moving there, not there. You can get away with moving here, and you're still covering on e3. Okay, so the knight moves are out, right? Knight moves are all out. Okay, what else do we have? Pawns? Pawns can't move. All the pawns have something right in front of them, and that's how chess works. They can't move. Okay. Bishop? Bishop can't move. Right now the bishop is kind of pinning this rook. Well, of course it can move by taking, but that would be mate. So it can't move anywhere else other than this square. Right, so it's pinning this rook. Our king is currently cut off by the rook on the 7th rank and the bishop on c5. So the king is stalemated right now, which means this king, this is a rook, this rook can't move, this bishop can't move because it's blocked in by the rook. So we really have only one piece that can move. So I think it seems sensible the answer is somewhere with the rook. So we have a bunch of squares, and we have to figure out which square, and I can keep drawing these arrows, which square is the best, and why. Okay, well, let's just start with the first one. Rook takes g5. Okay, well that's check. The bishop is giving check, and the rook cannot capture the bishop because, if you recall, this bishop is pinned. So that's not a legal move. Okay, so same idea. Rook h6. That's check. Okay, again, the rook cannot capture, so that'd be mate. So you think, oh, okay, maybe I do something a little different. What if I went rook to g7 like this? That's mate in 1, right? Same idea. I probably shouldn't have done the move on the board. Okay, what about rook here? Hey, look, same problem. It's still mate. No matter what I do with the rook, this bishop is going to be attacking this king. And I can't remove this bishop because the central problem is this rook is currently pinned by our bishop. Now that might give a hint into the answer. And if you understand where I'm going, you might be able to see a solution. So you think, what is the relevant difference between all these squares? There's a difference, right? This square, the bishop can take me, but of course they can't because it's check. So you think, okay, well, is there a square that does something different than all these other squares? And you have to kind of look, and the answer, of course, is yes. That's what's cool about this puzzle. So I'm going to share the answer now. If you don't want to hear it, pause the video. If you do, keep watching. Okay, so the key issue here with all these rook moves, like I mentioned, I guess not this rook move, the issue with a lot of these rook moves is the second you move the rook to give mate, you cannot capture here, right? I mentioned the rook cannot take the bishop. Now why? Because the bishop is pinned, or the rook is pinned because of this bishop. The bishop cannot, I'm saying it all backwards. The bishop is pinning the rook cannot move. That's what I'm saying. So, how can I break this pin along this diagonal? Well, that's the key. There's only one square that has that. That is this square right here, c6. So the answer is rook to c6. Now, how is that different? How are you able to visualize it? So if you can visualize this, you realize that if I go rook c6, now there's no longer this pin. Look at that nice diagonal. If I go rook c6, there is no longer this pin that was here a moment ago, which means black can now capture the bishop like this. Check, and now it's captured. And of course, it's, black will still end up losing, but that's fine. That's not the point. The point is to see mate in 1. Can you make the move that's not mate in 1? So that's pretty much it for this video. I thought it was cool. I think it's really anti chess, which is kind of fun. You get to see these weird positions that you never see. And yeah, just the idea of unpinning a pin piece, discover attack, like all these crazy things. Discovered attack plus unpinning your own piece. It's just all, it sounds crazy, right? I'm unpinning the black rook by moving this rook away from this bishop, and I'm blocking my own bishop. It just sounds so much fun. I love it. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like on YouTube. Consider subscribing as well. The charity this month is Feeding America. So half the income I earn in February will go directly to Feeding America. And that's it. Thanks so much. Bye.